So hello, my name's Rob and this is Cattle Rabbit Scale Model Studio, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at all the cards, books, just all the stuff you get in Warhammer Quest Darkwater. Now there's a ton of stuff with this box set, lots of these lovely fancy black envelopes and things like that we are going to go through in this video. Now if you are interested in the miniature side of things, then there is a separate video which I have been painting, as you can see on screen, that I will leave in the top comment below. Check that video out as well. It's dedicated to just the miniatures and the instructions, so if you're interested in that. But well, let's just dive in. So the first bite is always with the eye, and the box art, it's nice enough in my opinion. It's not my favorite bit of AOS artwork, however it does a good job of representing some of the heroes and the situations you're going to be getting into in this box. It's clean, it will look good on a shelf, it's nice. The back is the back, there's nothing really to write home. It's clear, you can see what you're going to get in here, all the miniatures, things like that. It's not too much to write home about. Now I will say before we go too far into the video, and I'll put a warning up a little bit later, they have act cards and they have loot cards and things like that in this box. If you don't want to know what's in them, I will give you fair warning to kind of tune out. I'll do them towards the end of the video. So if you want to, leave scenarios for a surprise or what they actually are as a surprise, I will give you warning. Don't worry, and we'll just kind of do it. But in the meantime, I forgot to say it in the other video, but if you like these videos, drop us a like, subscribe, it helps me out. If you've got any questions about any of the stuff in the video, fire in the comments below and I will certainly, more than happy to dive in. So first thing you're going to get in this box, dice. Now you get a little tiny box of them. They are slightly bigger than the little tiny piddly ones you get in some of the little starter sets. They're a nice, I think these are a 12mm dice. You've obviously got some fancy ones here with some symbols on, which you will find out more when you obviously start playing the game. I'm not going to spoil everything, but I will show you. They're nice enough. They're just dice, but everyone loves dice. The instructions we won't be going through. That is covered in the other video. Again, I'll leave that in the pinned comment below. Tokens. Now you get 2 sheets of tokens. They are double-sided. All of the lovely artwork. You've got some little tokens that block off paths and things. Most noticeable, they're on hexes, these, so you've got some little tokens. They all do certain things in certain missions, events, that type of thing. It's a good quality card stock, as you can see. Pop them out, put them in a little bag, and they're going to be good for a long while. Now you do get this big pull out A3 quick start sheet. I like stuff like this. Not only is there a QR code for a video tutorial, there's also lots of other little bits that tell you how to set up your kind of quest. You've got this little kind of next section, which is just a quick glimpse. I would probably actually fold it into a little pamphlet and just probably have it by the table. Stuff like this I really like. I myself don't hold rule knowledge or remember them that well. I'm a bit rubbish with stuff like that. That's why I tend to play the more simpler games like the skirmish games and things like that. So having this on hand is really nice. I like that they've done this. I like the fact that they've thought about the new player and getting the game started as quickly as possible. Here we have our rulebook with Ed Mark. He is obviously on a lot of the stuff. He seems to be the poster boy for this box set. Seems quite popular with a lot of the community, which is nice. The rulebook itself isn't very big. You've got a small contents. There's a little bit about the Jade Abbey. There's a little bit of how to set up. And the rules are all written pretty nicely. One thing I can appreciate this is because it's a new edition of Warhammer Quest and it's kind of doing its own thing. There's no prior rules to elaborate on, which I know a lot of people get sticky with. Games Workshop, they're really easy to read rules. They're not overly complicated because there's no little here's or there's or facts or erratas and stuff like that to have, overcomplicated it. You get a little bit of lore, you get a little bit of backstory, you get a clear identification of what all your cards are and what they do and when you should be using them. There's a little section on all the heroes, which is kind of cool. There's this nice little, pictures of the miniatures and things like that. The whole book is peppered with these kind of cool little Nurgle sketches, which I really like. I like that type of stuff. And it's just a nice little book, as far as rule books go. I was expecting a bit of a hardback book, but it actually only comes in 36 pages, and that includes all the lore, miniature showcase at the back. So it's not a complicated game by any means. Again, there's also a quick reference sheet on the back. Again, just handy to have. Your rulebook's on the table. Oh wait, what was that? What does that mean? You've got that little visual reference. Again, it's very beginner friendly, very, dare I say, idiot proof for someone like myself, because everything is clearly there and it's just a nice little book. So yeah, really like the rulebook. Now this envelope isn't so important. You'll find that once again you've got a lot of these when you open your box of Darkwater. I have to stop myself from saying Cursed City because I'm so used to, you know, playing that. But if we open it up, what's quite interesting here, and it did make me laugh quite a little bit when I first kind of found out what was in these. You've got dun 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 boxes for your envelopes. So it still tickles me, I'm not going to lie. There's boxes for each act, which is your loot cards. You've got some special stuff that goes in there. You've also got some boxes for your heroes, obviously up to 4. So if you're going to stop a game and resume it, you pop it all in one box and you can just take that all with you. And then you've also got these act like scenario ones with the lovely artwork, which is really nice. So you can keep all your Act 1 cards, Act 2, Act 3 cards, all nice and, you know, handy. I do wonder why they bothered putting them all in little fancy black envelopes, only for me to open them up to put them into little card cases. That does have a little bit of a problem, which I'll highlight later when I go through the deck cards. But they're nice enough to have. It just feels a little bit self-service checkout. You know, that I have to assemble these and put my own cards in them when they could have just came in it. Now, you do get as well this lovely kind of box. We see this all the time in Kill Team. It's like a big card envelope. We're used to seeing these in some of the releases. It's got this kind of black card stock. It puts all your stuff in it. You've got this cool picture of Gelga's Pust here. However, once you've taken out your envelopes and put them in your boxes, you're a couple of envelopes short, which means stuff moves around in there. So I would maybe keep some of the card back. Don't throw it all out because, yeah, you just want to keep the stuff nice. I do anyway. Now, the map book. This is probably the biggest change in Warhammer Quest. Although there's no tiles or anything like that, it's a map book. Everything's kind of got this lovely Nurgle iconography on. It's like this lovely like off green tarnish, all like stains on it. It's a lovely looking book. And on the back, there's a little glossy kind of like print that if you catch it in the light, you can see this Nurgle. Not in the light, there's nothing there. Small little details like that make this feel like a very quality product. It feels very nice. The map book itself, and I'm just going to put some maps on screen, they are nice. Obviously, again, it's moved over to a hex-based grid. Squares are out and tiles are out. It's now all on one thing. I don't necessarily mind the hexes. As you can see, the maps are quite clear. They're easy-ish to understand. I will talk about this in a later video. Some are really complicated looking, some are quite simple, just like ruins, and then whatever the hell this is, you know, it's a, oh my god, it's everywhere. But you know, you get 19 maps in here. It's 38 pages. They're all double-sided, and you just plop your map down, open it up, everything goes on. You know, the map book. It's nice enough. I will say I've only opened this about 6 or 7 times. And I am starting to see where it's a fairly big book, the binder string. So just be careful with this. It's the heart and soul of this game. However, I don't know whether I'm sold on the map book. In all honesty, I maybe would have preferred some double-sided tiles. I don't know. But anyway, you get it. It's nice enough. Now, this is where I am going to say this is your last spoiler warning. If you don't want to know what's in these Act 1 cards, then just, this is it for you and the video. I'll see you later. You could probably skip to like a minute before the end when I do the outro, but that's it. So look, if you've got any questions up to this point, fire them in the comments below. Anything you want to know, if there's anything you want me to expand on, let me know. I can always do a live and we can go through some of this stuff, but do let me know, otherwise I won't do it. So that's your warning over. We're going to open these up. Now, there's nothing too fancy in these. Some of these, in actual fact, we have already seen, and that is when you flip them over, you've got these event cards, and then you've also got your character cards. So you've got all your 7 heroes in here. As you can see, it's got all their stats and things like that on. We've seen this before, you know, Games Workshop's shown that. It's nice, you know, everything's clearly displayed. You'll just have this in front of you when you play your games. You also have your bad guys, your Nurgles. In actual fact, the Blight Templars, I thought they were one unit. They're actually individual people. So, you know, everything's quite clear. It's really, really nicely laid out. I like the art style on these cards. And, you know, as we flick through them, you've got your Act 1 scenario, which is Through the Filth and Rot. You know, it's all very Nurgle-esque. It tells you what cards you should be on here. So if you do want to play through a certain mission, you know it's in here. You know, you can just flick through. The cards themselves, they're all, you know, fairly standard. Some have little bits of artwork. Some are more complicated than others for encounters. Some have solo rules. Some have multiplayer rules. You know, some will ask you to put down tokens. They are events, things that can happen while you're on that map, while you're doing your thing. As you can see here, this one wants you to use some tokens, and it will obviously give you some objectives for that. So it's just what's going to happen. Shuffle these each time. There is a little cardboard box for them. Again, there's not too much to write home about. They are just, it's stuff to do, but it's definitely, you know, it's nice to have. Now, these all go in these little deck things like I showed you earlier. They kind of assemble quite nicely. They just slide in, and once you pop them all in, just like this, and we have all our Act 1 cards all neatly, you know, all in one go. Again, why they needed to come in the black wrapper thing, I'll never know, just for me to put them in there. But hey, it looks nice. It's cool, I guess. As we move into Act 2, there's a couple of extra enemy cards as things kind of ramp up. Act 2 is Descent into Darkness, and then you've got, you know, more events that can happen and stuff like that. You also start to get these cards in here which are boss encounters. So certain enemies will be, you know, harder to fight. Bosses, they can show up, you know, it can all get a little bit hairy, if you will. And then your Act 3 cards, same again. Precipice of Ruin, this act's called. You've got your big boss there for Gelgus Pust, which is an absolutely disgusting name, just as you flick through it. Again, it's all, you know, really nice. I actually like the artwork on these cards. They're quite nice. And then you do get bonus cards, which actually says don't open until you have completed Act 1. Now, I'm not sure what some of these cards are, because you've actually got other character cards in here, but we've already got character cards. So I'm going to leave a little bit of mystery there. And, you know, if you do pick it up or you really want to know, let me know in the comments below why these cards are a little bit different. You know, I'm more than happy to kind of go through it. But it's nice enough. You get some like victory things in there that you can kind of do. I don't want to say too much, but, you know, again, if you want to find out, let me know. Now, then we have these are all our loot cards. We've got loot, ability, statuses, and then you've got Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3 decks. So, you know, your epic, really cool, legendary loot, you're not going to get in Act 1, but, you know, you will get it in Act 3. So there's a good mix of artwork. Some are in colour, some are rewards, some are, you know, it's what you expect from a bit of a dungeon crawling game. Get abilities, get like relics and items and stuff. Very, very cool. However, I did encounter a little bit of a weird situation here, in that the deck 1 cards, there isn't enough space in the box to fit everything. So the status cards and the ability cards, I actually have no box for. Now, each envelope, as you'll see here with these are special cards, they're designed to go in the deck, and as you can see, there isn't much room for anything else. So I'm a little bit unsure if I've done something wrong here, that I can't fit everything in the Act 1 deck, but there isn't enough room in the Act 2 or 3 deck for me to have one or the other in. I would need to split the cards up and still have some floating around. So in that regard, I don't know whether I'm missing something. I don't think I am, but it's something to be aware of. You might need to get a little card box of these if you want to keep them nice. That's probably what I'm going to do. As we flick through, I'm just going to flick through these. Again, you know, you get little deck lists, so it tells you what should be in each deck. So if they ever get mixed up, you can work it out. You can see at the top here, we've got like legendary and rare and epic loot. It's all very like a loot shooter kind of tiers of loot and rewards and stuff like that. And then, you know, that's really it. That is all there is to the extra stuff of Warhammer Quest. I say that's really it. To me, that seems like quite a lot. That you do get a ton of stuff in this box set, and everything is done really nicely. There's some good hand-drawn kind of artwork. I like the fact that it's kept quite simple. There is, I think this is going to be a really beginner-friendly box set. I would have liked to have seen some of the other heroes represented on some of the boxes instead of just the knight all the time. That way at least you could have identified which one was your hero or your box when you suspended a game and came back to it, because everything would be in there. But it is, you know, it's a cool box set with lots of extra stuff. I did it this way so I could spend a bit more time on each rather than have like a long 40-minute video. Again, if you're interested in the miniatures, which I love, check out the video in the I'll leave it in the pinned comment or description. But that's it from me in this one. Look forward to more Warhammer Quest stuff. There's going to be loads coming on the channel, and I will see you all soon. God bless and take care.